Hello everyone, Carter here, and welcome to my solo progression playthrough of The Lord of the Rings, the living card game by Fantasy Flight Games. With the revised content for this game recently coming to an end a few months ago with the Return of the King expansion, I thought it would be fun to try to beat all of the quests back to back to back in a kind of ultra campaign style where I will use the default campaign rules for each individual campaign published in the revised content, but I will also introduce a few new ultra campaign rules to create a more cohesive experience that allows for cross-play between the quests and the different campaigns among them. So if you would like to learn more about the added quote-unquote ultra campaign rules that I'll be using, I'll link down below an explanation of these rules, and I'll also talk about them as we come across them. They'll mostly matter as we transition from one campaign to another campaign. But for now, we are going to be starting with the first 5-quest campaign that came out in the revised core set and Dark of Mirkwood expansion by FFG. I will also be playing progression style, meaning that I'll only be using cards to build my deck that were available at the time the quests were released. So for this first campaign, I will only be using player cards from the revised core set. Down below, I'll also link to an article that provides in-depth analysis of the deck that I will be using for this scenario. I'm going to be playing here for convenience on Dragon cards, so thanks a ton for C-Stand for this amazing tool for the community. It's a great way to play conveniently and record your playthroughs. I would highly recommend you check this out. I'll link it in the description down below. So I'm not going to go into completely how I made my deck here, but I will quickly talk about the heroes that I've chosen for this first 5-quest campaign. So I have chosen to play with Aragorn, Denethor, and Éowyn. So Aragorn is a 12 starting threat hero with 2 willpower, 3 attack, and 2 defense, 5 hit points. He has Sentinel and a pretty powerful ability here in the early game that says response after Aragorn commits to a quest, spend 1 resource from his resource pool to ready him. So this makes him a pretty versatile hero, especially with our limited pool of player cards at this point. You can quest with him, ready him, and then use him for other things like attacking and defending. I'm also going to be playing with Denethor here, who has 8 starting threat, 1 willpower, 1 attack, 3 defense, and 3 hit points. And the action, exhaust Denethor to look at the top card of the encounter deck. You may move that card to the bottom of the deck. So, encounter deck scrying is an extremely powerful ability in solo play. It gets diluted a little bit when you're playing with more players because you won't be able to look at all the cards coming off of the encounter deck. But in solo play, Denethor is extremely powerful, so my goal here is going to be to really try to control the encounter deck so that I know what's coming out and I know that it's not going to be too bad for me. So I'm going to be using Denethor's ability here a lot. And finally, I'm playing with Éowyn, who has a starting threat of 9, 4 willpower, 1 attack, 1 defense, and 3 hit points. And the ability, action, discard 1 card from your hand to give Éowyn +1 willpower until the end of the phase. This effect may be triggered by each player once each round. So Éowyn is the ultra quester here out of the core set cards. She is going to be essential to making sure that I'm making progress on the quest. And there's a little bit of flexibility in her ability in that if I need a little bit of extra questing, I can go ahead and discard a card from my hand to make sure that I'm making progress on the quest. So let's go ahead and get started here. I'm looking at my opening hand, and there's a few things that I like Unexpected Courage and Gandalf, but I don't think it's a very strong hand. We have a duplicate of Miner of the Iron Hills and a duplicate of Hasty Stroke, and we also have no leadership cards that Aragorn can play. So I'm going to go ahead and take my mulligan here and hope I get something better. So what do we have? We have Steward of Gondor, 2 copies, but just having any Steward of Gondor is going to be great for some resource generation. Hinamarth Riversong is going to be great for this encounter deck scrying to make sure that I'm controlling what's coming out. So I think this is a pretty good hand. We've got an Unexpected Courage in there as well. And Faramir is great for some questing boosts as well if needed. So that seems pretty good. Now I'm going to go ahead and load up our first quest. So again, The first campaign that I'm going to be playing here is the, what is it called? The Mirkwood Paths campaign. So this is a 5-quest campaign where I use the same heroes to try to complete all 5 quests. If a hero dies, they die permanently and I have to replace them. So hopefully my heroes will not be dying here. The first quest in this Mirkwood Paths campaign is called Passage Through Mirkwood. So I'm going to go ahead and load that up and set up the quest. Let's see what we got here. So, Passage Through Mirkwood, quest card 1A, Flies and Spiders. You are traveling through Mirkwood Forest carrying an urgent message from King Thranduil to the Lady Galadriel of Lorien. As you move along the dark trail, the spiders gather around you. Setup. Search the encounter deck for 1 copy of the Forest Spider and 1 copy of the Old Forest Road and add them to the staging area. Then shuffle the encounter deck. So this is really nice. The setup has already been done for me. We have the Old Forest Road in the staging area. It's a pretty nice location, only contributing 1 threat in the staging area, and with the response, after you travel to Old Forest Road, the first player may choose and ready 1 character he controls. So this is one of the rare good encounter cards, and we get to start with it and get some character readying, which is nice. We also have the Forest Spider here. 2 threat, 2 attack, 1 defense, and 4 hit points. Forced. After Forest Spider engages a player, it gets +1 attack until the end of the round. So it's going to start off with a pretty good attack value of 3 once it first engages me, but in subsequent turns it'll be back down to its 2 base attack, so hopefully it won't pose too much of a challenge. But this game is pretty difficult with solo play. You only have 3 heroes to deal with things, a limited amount of resources, so hopefully we can beat this first quest and get this campaign rolling. Let's flip over this quest card here to side 1B. It requires 8 progress points to complete and says the nastiest things they saw were the cobwebs, dark, dense cobwebs with threads extraordinarily thick, often stretched from tree to tree or tangled in the lower branches on either side of them. There were none stretched across the path, but whether because some magic kept it clear or for what other reason they could not guess. And that's a quote from The Hobbit. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Since I'm playing this campaign mode, we do have this special campaign setup instructions, which is pretty neat. This is going to, again, create more of a cohesive experience throughout these quests. So, we're looking at Mirkwood Paths Campaign Part 1. We are playing in campaign mode, and as an additional setup, we get to put Mendor into play. And if Mendor leaves play, the players lose the game. So thematically what's happening here, as we can see in the flavor text, King Thranduil has assigned a guide, Mendor, to assist you in your passage through Mirkwood Forest. So we're carrying a message from Thranduil to Galadriel, and we have a messenger, Mendor. Here we go. And if Mendor dies, the message is lost and we fail the quest. So we need to make sure Mendor survives in order for him to carry the message to Galadriel. Mendor is an ally who has 1 willpower, 1 attack, 1 defense, and 3 hit points. He is ranged, which doesn't matter for solo play. That's going to come into play with multiple players. The first player gains control of Mendor. Response: after a quest card is defeated, ready Mendor, then each player draws 1 card. That's a nice ability that's going to allow for us to draw more cards and use Mendor for a variety of different purposes there. And if Mendor leaves play, remove him from the game. And of course, as the campaign card says, if Mendor leaves play, we lose the game. So we got to make sure that Mendor survives here. Okay, so we have set up the campaign, we've set up the first quest, and we are ready to go. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and gain resources on my heroes and draw a card. And it looks like I drew Guard of the Citadel. So let's take a look at what we have here. We can't play a lot yet. Our cards are more expensive than the resources we have, and I'm playing a tri-sphere deck, which means I'm only generating 1 resource in each of these spheres each round. I do have the option to play Hinamarth Riversong, and I'm thinking about it, and I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to bring Hinamarth Riversong into play for 1 resource, And he has another encounter deck scrying ability where he can you can exhaust Hinamarth Riversong to look at the top card of the encounter deck. So it is a weaker effect than Denethor, who can look at the top card and then move it to the bottom of the deck if you want. But it still is pretty nice. It still is pretty nice if you don't want to use Denethor, or if you use Denethor's ability, move a card to the bottom of the deck, and then if you want to look at the next one, you can still prepare for what's coming. So I think I am going to go ahead and get started, and I'm actually going to use Hinamarth's ability right away, exhaust him to look at the top card of the encounter deck. So exhaust him here, and what do we have? We have a Dol Guldur Beastmaster. So it's not a great enemy. He's pretty dangerous. 3 attack, 5 hit points, which is pretty hefty for this first quest. And he has an ability that when Dol Guldur Beastmaster attacks, deal it 1 additional shadow card. The one thing I am thinking is that he has an encounter threat level of 35. And as you can see up here, my starting threat is 29. So if all goes well, I shouldn't really have to encounter Dol Guldur Beastmaster for a while. So I think I'm okay with this. I'm going to go ahead and leave him here. Well, I can't move him because I used Hinamarth's ability. If I wanted to, I could use Denethor's ability right away and move him to the bottom of the deck, but I don't think that would be smart at this point. So we can prepare, which is nice. So it looks like Beastmaster is going to come out, and we're going to have a total of 5 threat in the staging area. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the questing phase, and let's think about who I want to quest with here. We're going to have to engage this forest spider, and hopefully I can deal a good amount of damage. So let's see, we have 5. I think I'm going to go ahead and quest with both Eowyn and Mendor. So again, this dragon card software is very nice. It shows you how much each character is questing for here and the total amount that you're questing for right here. So I have committed 5 willpower to the quest. And after I commit characters to the quest, of course, I am going to reveal an encounter card. We know that it is Dol Guldur Beastmaster. So we have 5 threat in the staging area, which means we make no progress on the current quest, which I think is going to be okay for now. I'm not going to use Eowyn's ability to discard a card. I'm going to play extra careful here since I don't want to lose any heroes. So I'm going to try not to take too many risks. I'm going to choose in the travel phase to not travel to the Old Forest Road. If I travel there, I could ready a character I have, but I think this ability is probably better left for a later round, potentially. Let me think about this. You know what? No, I think I am actually going to travel to the Old Forest Road. And the reason for that is after I travel there, I'm going to make this the active location. After I travel there, I can ready a character, and I'm actually going to maybe take an unorthodox approach here and ready my Hinamarth Riversong for some end of round scrying, I think. So we're gonna enter the encounter phase where the forest spider is going to engage us whether we like it or not. I could choose to optionally engage the Dol Guldur Beastmaster as well, but I don't want to deal with 2 enemies this early, especially just playing with 1 deck. So I'm not going to optionally engage the Beastmaster, and I will engage the Forest Spider. Again, its Forest ability says after Forest Spider engages a player, it gets +1 attack until the end of the round. So I'm going to put this +1 attack token here to remind me that it does have 3 attack for this round. So in the combat phase, we are going to deal shadow cards to each enemy engaged with us. So let's see here. I think at this point, before this attack, I'm going to go ahead and use Hinamarth's ability and take a look at the next card coming off next round in the encounter deck. And I can see that that's Enchanted Stream, which is an okay card. That's going to be perfectly fine for next round. So I feel comfortable defending with Denethor here with the Forest Spider. We have 3 attack against 3 defense, but of course we have to look at this shadow card. So what do we have? We have no shadow effect with the Great Forest Web. So 3 attack to 3 defense. Denethor does not take any damage. Now it's my turn to attack my enemies, and I will exhaust Aragorn to declare him as an attacker against the Forest Spider. 3 attack against 1 defense, and I deal 2 damage to the forest spider. 2 damage out of 4. So things are progressing nicely, I think. We're going to discard shadow cards at the end of the combat phase. And that is the end of the round. So I'm going to go ahead and ready all of my characters, gain resources, and draw a new card. Looks like I drew Snowborn Scout here, who is a nice chump blocking ally that I could play. So let's get right into this. Second round, I have a lot more options for what I can do with my resources now. So what I'm going to do first is pay 2 to play an Unexpected Courage. Unexpected Courage is a great card. It's an attachment that I can attach to a hero and use an action, Exhaust Unexpected Courage, to ready attached hero. So this is going to be really great to get more versatility out of my heroes. I'm going to attach this to Denethor, so I can use him multiple times for scrying or defending or both. I'm also going to play a Steward of Gondor and make Aragorn Steward of Gondor. Steward of Gondor is one of the best cards in the early game anyways, maybe in the entire game. Attached to a hero, attached hero gains the Gondor trait, and as an action, exhaust Steward of Gondor to add 2 resources to attached hero's pool. I can trigger this right away, which is amazing, and gain 2 resources on him, and essentially every round Aragorn is now going to be gaining 3 resources instead of 1. So this is great resource generation, a really nice card here. Now, thinking about how I want to play this, I'm going to go ahead and get Snowborn Scout into play. Pay 1 for Snowborn Scout, who doesn't do a whole lot of anything. He has 1 defense and 1 hit point, 0s across the board for the rest of his stats. But he has a response. After Snowborn Scout enters play, choose a location, place 1 progress token on that location. So that's nice, I guess. I'm going to go ahead and place 1 progress token on Old Forest Road. Otherwise, he is going to help out with some chump blocking. Okay, so that's all I'm going to play in the planning phase, and now we go to the questing phase. Now things can start happening, because we know from last round when we looked at the encounter deck, we know Enchanted Stream is going to be coming out. That's great. So we know we're going to be up against 4 threat in the staging area. So I'm going to go ahead and quest with Éowyn, Mendor, and Aragorn, and I'm going to use Aragorn's response. After Aragorn commits to a quest, spend 1 resource from his resource pool to ready him, spend a resource, and ready him. So Steward of Gondor is going to work great with Aragorn's ability. I can essentially quest with him every turn and keep him ready to fight or defend. So I have committed 7 willpower to the quest. I am going to reveal 1 card, Enchanted Stream, which means we make 3 progress on the quest. So since we have an active location, you have to place progress first on the active location. So 2 progress gets placed. It requires 3 progress to complete. So the Old Forest Road is going to be discarded from play. We have explored that. And 1 more progress is left over. It goes on the quest card. So we are 1/8 of the way there through this first quest card. Now we can travel. So I'm going to go ahead and travel to the Enchanted Stream, which is a little annoying because while Enchanted Stream is the active location, players cannot draw cards. Hopefully we should be able to deal with that pretty quickly though, and we don't want that 2 threat sitting in the staging area. So now, in the encounter phase, I am still not going to optionally engage the Dol Guldur Beastmaster. Its encounter level is 35 and my current threat is 30, so we can go ahead and keep this guy in the staging area for a while. And we're going to go right into the combat phase, dealing shadow cards. I do need to take off this +1 attack counter from the Forest Spider. It's back down to 2 attack because it's no longer the same round that it engaged me. So it's a little bit easier to take care of here. Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and defend this Forest Spider with Denethor. 2 attack to 3 defense. Let's see what the shadow card is. This attack gets +1 attack, +3 attack instead if this attack is undefended. Okay, so it does get +1 attack, going up to 3 attack, but Denethor has 3 defense, so he does not take any damage. That's perfectly fine. So I'm going to use Unexpected Courage to ready Denethor, so I can use him at the end of the round. And I will attack my Forest Spider with Aragorn. 3 attack to 1 defense means 2 hit points spill over, or 2 damage spills over, and we kill our Forest Spider, which is very nice. So at the end of the round, I'm going to go ahead and use Denethor's ability, and I'm going to exhaust him to look at the top card of the encounter deck. Let's go ahead and take a look. We have Black Forest Bats. When revealed, each player must choose 1 character currently committed to a quest and remove that character from the quest the chosen character does not ready. This should be okay, so I'm not going to use Denethor's ability of moving the Black Forest Bats to the bottom of the encounter deck. This should be relatively easy to combat here. So I think that's all the actions we want to trigger, and we can go ahead and move into the next round. So our threat is going to increase by 1. We're now at 31. We gain resources. I'll gain 2 more using Steward of Gondor. And we draw a card. We get Gleowine, which is a nice card here. Allows us to draw some extra cards. So I'm going to go ahead and play Gleowine right away for 2 lore resources. Gleowine has 1 willpower and 2 hit points, but we're probably not going to be using him for those things because he has the action Exhaust Gleowine to choose a player. That player draws 1 card. So that's going to be some nice extra card draw, which we need because we only have 4 cards in hand, as you can see. Okay, so let's keep things moving here. I think I'm going to save these resources because we do have Faramir that I'm going to want to play next round. So that's going to be great. I'm going to go ahead and use Gleowine actually in the planning phase to draw an extra card, and we get Hasty Stroke, which is good. We can counter some shadow cards that are revealed in combat if things get hairy at all. Okay, so we know we're going to be pulling Black Forest Bats off the encounter deck, so someone is going to have to be removed from the quest, but we're only going to be facing 3 threat in the staging area. So I feel pretty comfortable questing with Mendor, Eowyn, and Aragorn, and again I'm going to use 1 resource from Aragorn and ready him after committing to the quest. So this should be good. Let's go ahead and, reveal the Black Forest Bats, and I am going to choose to remove Mendor from the quest. He, of course, stays exhausted, but his willpower no longer counts. That's okay because we have 3 threat in the staging area and 6 willpower committed, so we make 3 progress. I'm now remembering I made a mistake. The Enchanted Stream was the active location, which means I couldn't have drawn cards. So I couldn't have drawn Gleowine, and I couldn't have drawn the Hasty Stroke. So that's unfortunate that I forgot about the Enchanted Stream. So to fix this, I'm going to shuffle Gleowine back into my deck, shuffle Hasty Stroke back into my deck, and since I never played Gleowine, I would still have those 2 resources on Denethor. So no harm, no foul. I just never drew Gleowine and never drew Hasty Stroke. Sorry for that. It's not too big of a deal, I don't think. We're still making 3 progress, so let's get this Enchanted Stream out of there. 2 progress clears the Enchanted Stream, and 1 spills over onto the current quest card. So we have 2 progress out of 8, which is good. So now we have a couple enemies to work with, and I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable with these enemies. I could still leave the Dol Guldur Beastmaster at the staging area, which I guess is probably the safe move. I could probably take both, but for now I guess I'll just take the Black Forest Bats. Let's deal shadow cards. And it has 0 defense and 2 hit points, so it's a very weak enemy here. I don't need to defend with Denethor, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyways. Let's take a look at the shadow card. Choose and discard 1 attachment from the defending character. If this attack is undefended, discard all attachments you control. This is quite annoying here. I don't have Hasty Stroke anymore to cancel this shadow effect, and I have to discard Unexpected Courage, which is unfortunate. In retrospect, I should have used Unexpected Courage right after exhausting Denethor to declare him as a defender, but I did not do that, so Denethor is still exhausted and Unexpected Courage goes in the discard pile. Black Forest Bats don't deal any damage, however, because it's 1 attack to Denethor's 3 defense. And then I'm going to go ahead and kill those bats with Aragorn's 3 attack power. But the Black Forest Bats made an impact. They got rid of Denethor's courage, which is unfortunate there. So now at the end of the round, I'm going to go ahead and use Hinamarth Riversong to look at the top card of the encounter deck. And what do we have? We have a Necromancer's Pass. Okay, so we can plan for that coming out as our 1 revealed card next time. Let's go ahead and go to the next round. Now I get to draw a card because of Enchanted Stream has been cleared. So I'm drawing Celebrian Stone, which is a great card. And again, I get 2 more resources from the Steward of Gondor. Okay, so no more Gleowine because of my mistake, but I do have the Celebrian Stone, which is a nice card. The question is, do I want to use Celebrian Stone or Faramir? I think it's probably a good idea to use Celebrian Stone, so I'm going to pay 2 resources from Aragorn to play Celebrian Stone on him. Attached to a hero, restricted. Attached hero gains +2 willpower. If attached hero is Aragorn, he also gains a spirit resource icon. So he can be used to play those blue cards now, which is great. But also he has +2 willpower. So he's contributing 4 to the quest every time. So this is going to be very nice. We know that the Necromancer's Pass is coming out, so let's go ahead and quest with Eowyn, Mendor, and the newly buffed up Aragorn. So that commits 9 to the quest, which is quite good. We reveal 1 card, Necromancer's Pass, but we still make 4 progress. So 1, 2, 3, 4 go on the quest card there, and we are almost through this first quest card. In the travel phase, sorry, I forgot this response, which of course I'm going to do. Spend 1 resource from his resource pool to ready him after questing, which I should always be doing there. Okay, so let's go ahead. This may be risky because I do have Faramir in my hand, but I'm going to go ahead and travel to Necromancer's Pass. It does contribute 3 threat, which is no good, but I do have to use, I do have to trigger this ability, Travel. The first player must discard 2 cards from his hand at random to travel here. So that's not great. So I'm going to go ahead and travel there and randomly generate some numbers. So randomly generate a number from 1 to 4 means I discard. Okay, that's great. I discard my duplicate of a Steward of Gondor. I couldn't play it anyway because it's unique, so discard that card, which is great. Now I'm going to randomize a number between 1 and 3, and I discard Faramir. Oh man, okay. It should still be okay. That was the 1 card I was hoping not to lose, but it's good to still have my Miner of the Iron Hills in case a condition attachment comes off of the encounter deck. So, not too bad, but not great either. We have now traveled to the Necromancer's Pass. Now, I could still leave Dol Guldur Beastmaster in the staging area for a long time, actually. And I'm considering doing that. I actually don't have to worry about him. So I am going to go ahead and leave him there. I think I don't have to fight him. And instead, I'm going to use some abilities at the end of the round here. I am going to use Denethor's ability to look at the top card of the encounter deck. Each player discards all event cards in his hand. This is actually an okay card now because I do not have any event cards in my hand. So I'm going to leave that on top of the encounter deck. So yeah, we should be good to go ahead and move on to the next round. Raise threat up to 33. Draw a card, which is Gandalf. That's great. And gain resources, and 2 more resources from Steward of Gondor. So we have a lot of resources to work with as of right now. This is really great. I'm going to save Gandalf, I think, and I'm going to go ahead and play my Guard of the Citadel. Seems like a good idea. Gandalf could be more useful later if something bad happens, so I'm going to keep him in my back pocket there. I know that this card, Eyes of the Forest, is coming out. I have no event cards in my hand, so that doesn't matter. So it looks like I'm going to be able to pass through this quest phase now, or this quest card, which is great. So I am going to go ahead and quest Eowyn, Mendor, and let's do a little bit of math here. Yeah, let's do Aragorn as well. And I'm actually going to go ahead and not trigger Aragorn's ability. I'm going to go ahead and save that resource. I don't need to ready him because, again, I don't think I'm going to be engaging Dol Guldur Beastmaster. So we reveal Eyes of the Forest. We don't have any event cards, so that resolves with no effect, which is great. And we place 7 progress. 2 go on the Necromancer's Pass, and the rest spill over to this first quest card, and we pass the quest card, which is great. So we get 8 out of 8, and after a quest card is defeated on Mendor, we get to ready Mendor and draw a card, which is great. And we get a Test of Will, which is a nice card to have in our back pocket. So we pass the quest, and we move on to quest card 2A, A Fork in the Road. As you move through Mirkwood, hounded by spiders, the forest path forks before you. Unsure of what lies ahead, but spurred by the urgency of your message, you choose a path and proceed. We need 2 progress to pass this quest card, so it's pretty easy. And forced, when you defeat this stage, proceed to one of the 2 A Chosen Path stages at random. So things are going quite smoothly here. This quest usually isn't too much to worry about. And our deck is dealing with it quite well. We haven't taken any damage, in fact, so that's great. Again, I'm going to leave Dol Guldur Beastmaster in the staging area. That may not be the smartest move, but I think I'm going to be okay and not have to engage this guy. So at the end of the round, let's go ahead and use Denethor's ability to look at the top card. We have a Mountains of Mirkwood, which should be just fine. Should be just fine, I think, yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the next round. We raise threat to 34, draw a card, and gain resources. We drew a Sneak Attack, which is going to be fantastic with Gandalf. Sneak Attack and Gandalf is one of the best combos in the early game here, so that's great to see. We're going to go right into the planning phase, and I'm not going to do anything. So I'm going to continue right on into the questing phase. Now, I'm going to go ahead and quest with Eowyn, Mendor, and let me think here. Yeah, let's go ahead and quest with Aragorn. He has so many resources that I can use his ability and ready him right away while still having 5 resources. So this is great. 9 willpower committed to the quest. We reveal a Mountains of Mirkwood as expected. 9 willpower against 4 threat in the staging area means we make 5 progress, which means we blow right through this fork in the road, which means, again, Mendor readies, and we draw a card. And we draw a Hasty Stroke if we want to cancel any shadow effects. So we're passing a fork in the road. And we choose a stage 3A at random. So we have 2 stage 3As. They look the same on the front. A chosen path. The trail winds into one of the darkest, most tangled parts of the forest. You sense that a foul, dark presence is hunting you, and you move quickly in an attempt to avoid its evil. So we have to randomly select one of these quest stages, and they'll have different effects depending on what we select. So I'm going to randomly flip a coin, and we flip heads. So I'm going to select this first chosen path card there. Let's flip it over and see what we get. Don't leave the path. 0 progress. The shadows grow darker, and you realize that a foul presence is aiming to draw you from the path. You must defeat it to pass this way. When revealed, each player must search the encounter deck and discard pile for 1 spider card of his choice and add it to the staging area. And the players must find and defeat Ungoliant Spawn to win this game. So it looks like if we find and defeat Ungoliant Spawn, we beat the quest, which is going to be great. So for this win revealed effect, I think I'm going to go ahead and just search the encounter deck for Ungoliant Spawn and bring him into play right away. Ungoliant Spawn is the boss enemy of this quest. He has an engagement level of 32, 3 threat, 5 attack, 2 defense, and 9 hit points, which is pretty powerful for the early game here. He is a creature and a spider, and he has a when revealed effect. Each character currently committed to the quest gets -1 willpower until the end of the phase. Luckily, we have already done quest resolution, so this effect does not matter. So its when revealed effect does not affect the game in any way. So if we defeat this enemy, we go ahead and win the game, and I think we're going to be able to do that here. So to be safe, I am not going to travel to the mountains of Mirkwood, because I don't want to have to reveal the top card of the encounter deck and add it to the staging area to travel here, because it could draw an enemy that engages me and has to fight me while Ungoliant Spawn is engaged with me. So Ungoliant Spawn is the only card we have to worry about here, because we still aren't at this 35 engagement level for the Dolgold or Beastmaster. So in the encounter phase, the Ungoliant Spawn is going to engage me, and I'm going to deal shadow cards to Ungoliant Spawn. In the combat phase, I'm going to go ahead and spend 1 for sneak attack to put 1 ally card into play from my hand, and at the end of the phase, if that ally is still in play, return it to my hand. So in the combat phase, I'm going to sneak attack Gandalf, which is a great combo. Gandalf is an amazing ally with 4 willpower, 4 attack, 4 defense, and 4 hit points, and I get to put all that into play for 1 cost of the sneak attack, bypassing his 5 cost, which is very nice. At the end of the round, I have to discard Gandalf from play, but this sneak attack is going to trigger first, because at the end of the phase, he comes into my hand, so I'm going to get Gandalf back instead of discarding him from play. And there's a response here. After Gandalf enters play, draw 3 cards, deal 4 damage to 1 enemy in play, or reduce my threat by 5. Well, we know that Ungoliant Spawn is kind of our target here, so I'm going to go ahead and deal 4 damage straight to Ungoliant Spawn. So 4 damage out of 9 hit points. We're about halfway to killing this spider already, and we should be able to finish pretty easily. 3, 4, 5, 6... yes, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and defend Ungoliant Spawn with Snowborn Scout. Sorry, Snowborn Scout. He doesn't really stand a chance. Let's see what the shadow card is. Necromancer's Reach does not have a shadow effect, so we don't have to do anything. Snowborn Scout, unfortunately, dies to the Ungoliant Spawn. But now it's our turn, and we get to attack for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Attack with everyone. 11 attack to 2 defense, and we could have killed Ungoliant Spawn without Gandalf's help. But a bunch of damage spills over, and we kill Ungoliant Spawn, which means we defeat Don't Leave the Path. We defeat the entire quest passage through Mirkwood, and that's 1 quest down from our campaign. So things are only going to get harder from here on out. Yes, so let's do campaign resolution here. Let's look back at this campaign card, and let's flip it over. Mendor did not leave play, so we do not lose the game, which is nice. Resolution. Each player earns one copy of the Mendor's Support Boon card. Add the earned cards to the campaign pool. That's great. So I grab a Mendor Support, and this goes in the campaign pool, which means I get to have it in my deck for every future scenario that I play as a part of this Mirkwood Paths campaign. So this is great. This is an event that boosts Mendor's willpower, attack, and defense. And yeah, that's a neat card for the campaign that gets to carry forward. We're not done here. If Stage 3B was Bjorn's Path, add the Ungoliant Swarm Burden card to the campaign pool. It was not Bjorn's Path. Stage 3B was Don't Leave the Path. So if Stage 3B was Don't Leave the Path, add the Lingering Venom Burden card to the campaign pool. So, Lingering Venom. We get this nice boon, Mendor Support, but we also get this unfortunate burden. Lingering Venom. So this gets shuffled into every future encounter deck. Lingering Venom has Surge and says, when revealed, each player must choose either exhaust each damage character you control or deal 2 damage to the hero you control with the most damage on it. So this has a chance to be revealed in every future quest we play in this Mirkwood Path campaign pool. So I think that's it for this first quest of this progression playthrough. And thanks everyone so much for watching, and I'll see you again for part 2, which will be Journey Down the Anduin. Alright, see you later. Bye.